Good morning and welcome to Iconic Production channel. I am JM, your GM, and we are here for Behind the Screen, a show where we just talk about games, things that we love about gaming. Today we're talking about after action reports and future plans that I am working on. So hello to Mr. Bob Crumb, to Rook, to John Doom, and thanks to Rook for his generosity. I greatly appreciate that. That is just amazing. Thank you, Rook. Thank you to everyone who is now subscribed, and good morning to Padre. So, it's been a while since I've done one of these. I enjoy talking about my games and what I am planning to do. Some of them I won't be able to talk too much about because one of my players is currently lurking in the chat. I can see him there with his tablet glove on. But so I've been working on a lot of different games. As you know, I like a variety of games. And so I figured I'd talk about what games I have on the docket, what games I'm planning, and do a recap of where we're at with my other campaign, Jackals. So Jackals, the group has made some poor life choices and ended up in chasing a blood witch into the unsealed tomb that is Ekiazaru, this mansion beneath the mountain. And they did not check on what supplies they had. They did not check on whether they could get back out. They just raced into the mountain's closing doors behind the Blood Witch, who steals faces from people. So now they are trapped inside the mountain and they have limited resources and supplies, which they are now tracking. And if they cannot find food or light or an exit, once they use up their resources, they will be trapped within the mountain. We had one character, they fought some new creatures that were like 3 foot long flying eels with lamprey mouths. And one of the characters fumbled both of his first clash rolls, got 2 critical hits against him, and was like, oh, I'll just kill this character. I'll let this character die. I won't spend the fate point. It'll be fine. I'm like, where's your next character coming from? I saw him mull it over in his mind and realize, oh crap, we don't know if there's anyone else alive down here. We don't know what shape they would be in. If I don't spend a fate point and take a little bit of scarring, well, I don't have another character to bring in. So it's been a delightful experience to see that dawning realization and horror kind of settle on the group. Will they survive Ekiazaru? I don't know. I've got a good portion of where they're at mapped out, and like the level map. It's sort of my little to steal a term from Adventure Conqueror King, my kilo dungeon. It's not quite a mega dungeon, but it's sort of getting there. And we'll see if they survive. If not, at least they know where the entrance is. I don't know how they would communicate that to someone else, but in my games, the dice tell a story, and player agency is as much about letting players sit with their failures as it is as championing whatever weird idea comes into their head. So, yeah, that's kind of where we're at there. As for other gaming, I haven't actually had a lot of time to do a lot of gaming recently. There's been sickness in the area. There's been sickness at my in my home, and so we haven't got to play our D&D game. And Jackals is just starting up, and obviously Torg is on hold as we're playing 17 or Space 1889. Yes, Bob, sitting with their failures. You've got to. I feel like we learn a lot when things go wrong. And Jackals is a game about preventing things from going wrong. And, as we talked about from my second edition game that I'm running, one of my buddies was like, it's a more intense style of play in the fact that you've got to pay attention to everything kind of at all times. Otherwise, something could go wrong. So I figured instead we'd talk about some of the games I'm planning. And I think I would really like to do some of these as planning streams next year, where I basically put the 3 games that I'm planning up, possibly a 4th one, and talk through engage with you guys, show you my planning process, then do after action reports, and you guys can kind of see the before and after. There's one game I can't do this for because my good friend Bob Crumb shows up to these streams, and I'm going to be running a Blackbirds game with him. And we made all of the characters have been made. Now, I've done several streams that were all plagued with technical difficulties on Blackbirds and how much I love Blackbirds. And so we're going to start this game in January. And Bob is also going to be running a 5th edition game that I will get to play in, which is just amazing. Bob is a consummate professional. Consummate V's. I said consummate. And so the Blackbirds game, we've got all of the characters made. Everybody wanted to run an urban intrigue game. So we're setting it in the city of Cornwall, where all of this horrible stuff has happened. And not a damn one of them is a human. So thankfully, 2 of them will always appear as human. We've got... Oh, hold on. Rook converted the mass combat rules from Savage Worlds into 5e. That's awesome, Rook. I would love to see that conversion. I would love to see that conversion. Like, send me that document. I would love to take a look at it. So the Blackbirds game, I've got 2 of the Ace, which are the elves, who are like beings of quicksilver and moonlight, but appear as human to everyone else. And one of my players is playing a Path of Shadow, so he's definitely kind of going into the assassin kind of mindset. And my wife is playing, she fell in love with the Autumn Court, the fact of they're the ace consumed by mourning and loss. And so she's going to play this very dour fighter. Bob, she picked the Ace Bane, where she can touch a mortal's skin and either cause it to rip open or heal. And she fights with a bullwhip and a horsebow. So this will be a very creepy character for her. Bob is playing our Jotun craftsman who can make magic arrows, which is why Trish picked the horsebow. We've got a Nephilim caster, which should be very interesting. I'm putting together his outsiders that he will be dealing with as we speak. And then Lily, who played in the Deadlands game. She also played Edith in our Torg game and Perpetua in our Fading Suns game. She's joining this group, and she will be playing a dame, so one of the dwarves. She's playing a Cinderkin dwarf crafter, but she's going to focus more on the healing arts, while Bob is focusing more on the repairing arts. So it's a good group. It should be an eclectic group. We'll see how that all comes together. I am planning several Savage Worlds games. This should be of interest to John Doom. I'm doing a one-on-one Deadlands game for somebody who has wanted to play Deadlands for the longest time and has not got a chance to. We made their character last night, which will be a lot of fun. And I am currently plotting out a big Savage Worlds superhero game. So I may put up a little poll to see which of these games you guys would enjoy watching. And talk about that. I have this multiversal superhero game that I would really love to try out. And yes, Bob has also pointed out that I am looking at doing I'm looking at doing a Wrath and Glory game. Now, the Savage Worlds game, or possibly the Wrath and Glory game, could be a game where we would stream that and possibly get people in the chat to come in and join. But Bob and I have been playing a lot of Darktide. Bob more than me, but I'm catching up, Bob. Great game. If you enjoy Warhammer 40k, if you enjoyed Vermintide, highly recommend Darktide. Just just amazing, start to finish, wonderful 40K experience. And I'm currently plotting out a Wrath and Glory game because Bob and I just love the Warhammer 40K universe so much. Yes, Padre, I'm going to jump over to the chat real quick. Yes, magic arrows combined with an archer is a very awesome combo. In third edition, you played Initiate, Order of the Bow Initiate, who had two clerics casting magic weapon on his arrows every day. That is some wonderful synergy in the party. Yeah, Bob was looking at this, and so in Blackbirds, every technique has two abilities that you get to use, and then an extinguish technique where you basically can't use it again until the next rekindling. And I think the horsebow's abilities are to shoot other projectiles out of the air and to fire two arrows at once at the same target. And the extinguish ability is pick X number of targets and they just die. Like you don't get to use any of the other abilities for the rest of the combat, but when you really want to do that, that's the way to do it. Now, you can't slay creatures that you don't have the capacity to slay, so that one magic arrow that Bob gets to craft would allow Trisha to instantly slay something crazy, but again, you don't get to use those abilities till the next rekindling. But yes, so Bob, one of the things, if we end up doing the planning of the Wrath and Glory game in the new book, what is it called? Redacted. I was actually doing prep for this right now. Redacted Records. They have 20 plus pages on designing your own Space Hulk with roll tables. How cool is that? You could just roll up a Space Hulk and use the, I've got the several of the Warhammer 40K board games that I could use to just lay out the tiles for exploring a Space Hulk. Man, actually, that would be a pretty cool place to set a campaign as well. Just an inquisitorial ship docking with a massive Space Hulk. And the missions are delving the Hulk to try and get. All right, so I was thinking a Hive City, Bob, where we just did a local game in the grim vastness of the 41st millennium, and just focused on a single city on a single planet. But dang it, the Space Hulk. So Space Hulks are giant, supermassive starships. Sometimes they were built that way. Sometimes they were conglomerates of other ships that sort of just joined together either through wreckage or through intent. And you they float through the warp. They come out in systems. What's the board game I'm thinking of that I picked up? Oh man, it's gonna bug me for a while. But Zane and I love it, and it's not Space Hulk. It's another game, and you go deep into the Hulk, and you're running these missions to try and find keys to open this vault in the center of the Space Hulk. Man, Twilight Imperium, John, is a great setting, and I wish they would do more with it. I played more games of second edition or third edition than I care to admit when they came out with the massive, box. Talking about games that take at least a day to play. The one I have that I would love to play is the Lensman board game. There are 3 ways to play. You can play with 1 galaxy, and that's about a 4 to 6 hour game. If you play with 2 galaxies, that's an 8 to 12 hour game. Or if you go full triplanetary and play with all 3 galaxies, I think they say it's 40 to 60 hours to play. So there we are. So Rook just said Blackstone Fortress. That's the name of it, Padre. That's the board game. I love that board game. Bob will have to play Blackstone Fortress sometime. Rook just said, hey, the Dragonlance 5th edition book is out today. I would be interested to hear how it is. I have a love of the Weiss Hickman Dragonlance novels. That includes Dragons of a Summer Flame and the War of Souls trilogy. And I like most of Don Perrin's novels. I haven't read all of Don Perrin's novels. But much like the Forgotten Realms, once you kind of get away from the core line, some of the novels get a little wibbly wobbly. Also, as much as I love Dragonlance, the original modules were just awful, just awful. You basically played through the novels, and there were things to like about them. But as a GM, if you wanted to run them, you basically had to be either Ironclad Railroad or basically ignore the plot after a certain point. But I like the second edition Dragonlance. I mean, obviously, I like most of the second edition books. Those are kind of my exemplars of D&D. The Dragonlance box sets for 2E really kind of learned what they should not have done, and gave you just a wide open space to play in, and then eventually opened up the other continents so you could play Minotaurs and, have nothing to do with the novels at the time. So yeah, at this point I'm looking at possibly doing a planning for either Jackals, Wrath and Glory, or Savage Worlds. When we get into that, next year, I'll put up a little poll. I may put up a poll on the Discord channel this afternoon. See what people would be interested in watching on behind the screens as I plan. Probably do what I've done before, where I end up using Scapple to kind of map everything out. And as we need new creatures, as we need new NPCs, as we need new villains, we'll plan all of that out as well. And while yes, Bob, I would trust you to play in a Wrath and Glory game that I planned on stream, and that would happen, I do feel like the Blackbirds game, I have so much surprise built into that game, and that the focus of the game is the uncovering of lost knowledge, that I won't plan that one on stream. I don't know, Rook, because I think I might be an evil person. Just giving Rook 3 awful choices to choose from, or 3 excellent choices that are awful to make. So I'll put those up, give a little blurb of the games that we are looking at, and see what people want. If you're not on the Discord, comment in the chat or leave a note on YouTube, and we'd be glad to take your vote into account. But that's kind of our after action report. On Thursday, we're going to be back with finishing up our sci-fi look. We're going to be looking at science fantasy, which is this unique blend. Our kind of exemplars are going to be, again, Lensman, Star Wars, and Starfinder as another great one to... I did... that joke did go through my head, Rook. I want to know that, right, we have the John telepathy going on here. So... until then, we'll be doing Space 1889 tonight, wrapping that up. Again, we're going to... Kickstarter's going very well on Kickstarter. I guess that is the way to say it. For Strange Owl Games, they are approaching another adventure being unlocked at 27,500, I believe. They've got, I think, just less than $1,000 for that. And we definitely have unlocked... Bob doing the art, the deck plans for each of our ether ships in that book, which I'm just thrilled about. So we've got just a little bit left before I get we get our Christmas break in. We've got Space 1889 this week. We have our holiday show next Tuesday. And then the last stream of the year will be on... this Tuesday after that, where we do our annual Christmas game for Torg, and we'll see what next year is. Maybe it'll be a Torg game, maybe it'll be a Christmas Savage Worlds game. I have a really good idea for a Savage World or a Deadlands Christmas episode. So, yeah. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, stay gaming. I am JM, and this is Behind the Screen. We will be back on Thursday to talk about more science fiction. So until then, have a good one.